Hey guys, so you've been asking for a pond update, so I'm not only going to give you a pond update, we're going to test why the pond isn't holding water. Alright, so as you can tell, the pond is dry. Down here, it looks really dry. We have only had, in the last month and a half, we've maybe had a ½ inch of rain. It has been the driest spring, early summer, pretty much that I really ever remember. But as you can tell, it's really not holding much water. You get down here to this end and there is some water down here. At the deepest spot, it's maybe 2 foot deep right now. Now, even though it's not holding a lot of water, you can tell by the amount of tracks that it's had a ton of traffic in here. We recently had some cows break in, so there's some cow tracks in here. Tons and tons of deer tracks, got a few turkey tracks, got some coyote tracks. Everything is relying on this water source because that is one of the limiting factors here on hunting grounds is our water sources. And this pond was not particularly built just for the deer. It was for the deer and the wildlife on the property, but at the same time, it was really meant to be a fishing pond because you can tell the house is right back here. This is what I call Dad's pond. It's about an acre. And once it gets all the way full, it's gonna be about 10 foot deep in the deepest parts. But we got to get it to hold water. So let me get you up here and show you the dam. The guys from Ingles Dirt Work did a great job digging this out and building it. And it's got a huge dam on the back end that's really, you've got quite a view off the back side of the pond here. But I did come in, I seeded it all, and it's taken off really well. Some of the seed threw over into the pond and we had a lot of seed growing up there, and because I didn't want it to interfere with the sealing of the pond, I went in and I have sprayed it all. So you can tell now all the grasses and weeds and everything inside the pond area have been killed off for the most part. Now when we dug this pond, there was an old pond that was here and it would hold water during a big rain just for maybe a day or two. But the guys from Ingles Dirt Work, when they came in here, they really started digging this out. I wanted a much larger pond, and it looked like we were gonna have some pretty good soil to even start with. And I started digging down. After we got through that good soil, it got to the really rocky soil where it almost looked like a gravel bed as soon as they were done digging it out. So we brought in red clay because that's what we got available here, and we packed in about 8 inches of red clay in this area. After we had brought in 8 inches of red clay and the dozer had ran over it, we had a very big rain come in here, and of course it filled up about 2 to 3 foot really quick, and then there soon after, within a day, it was gone. So the bulldozer, with its tracks apparently not being smooth tracks, didn't really seal the pond really well. So after it drained out, had enough moisture left in it, I got in here with my big heavy diesel truck and I ran it over with my smoother wheels, and then we got another rain. That rain, we got it to hold about 4 to 5 foot of water, and then after a day or two, it had seeped down to about 2 foot of water in both the deep ends, 2 to 3 foot of water. And it kind of stayed like that until it pretty much evaporated. But the thing here in the Ozarks, it's very hot, it's very dry, it's very humid. We have very well-drained soils, and so it does not take long, just even with the evaporation factor in, for a small little area of water to get evaporated out. So since then, it's been doing pretty much what you see here. On the other deep end, it's going to, even with the severe drought that we have right now, it's holding 2.5 to 3 foot of water in the deepest spot. It's not very wide. And this end, just here in the last week, it finally evaporated out. It was holding probably 1.5 foot on this end. Once it evaporated out, got the truck in here again, repacked it down. So I have a couple of theories of why this is not holding. For one, it would have been better if we have a lot better soil in this area. I could come in with sodium bentonite and really layer this in. It's going to take a lot of money because you got to get it all here, and it's going to take a lot of it for an acre of a pond. I was really hoping the red clay would do the job, but I've got a test that we can do that I've seen someone else do, and we're going to kind of test a couple theories here. So I'm really hoping this soil is just like that close to being able to holding the water that we really need here. I'm thinking that this red clay that we got in here is just a little bit too rocky, and if I I can reach out to somebody that's got some really good, tacky, almost pure red clay, and we bring it in with a big, heavy dump truck, and we can roll it with some smooth tires and really pack it down. I think it will seal, but we're gonna test this out because I'm ready for this thing to hold. This is what I built for Dad to fish in, and it's not holding water, but now's the time to figure out what we need to do since we're in the summer and it's gonna be dry, and it's very easy to pump that out down there and to get it dried out and to get it figured out as quick as we can. So I'm gonna show you guys my test. All right, so here's my test. I might have gone a little overboard. I took 2.5 gallon bucket and I drilled a ton of holes in the bottom of it. Took about 8 inches of red clay out of the same pile that they spread out over this pond. And what we're gonna do is, without even packing it in, we're gonna pour the water in, and I have a feeling that it's gonna seep out pretty quick. Then we're gonna come back in and start packing it, and it's gonna test to see if this can really ever hold water or how close we are for it holding water. And that will give us an idea of what I need to do next. If I need to bring in just some really good red clay, or if it's gonna have to be sodium bentonite and really get this thing figured out. So here's the test, and we'll see if it works. Well, we've got some leaks. As you can tell, it's still holding water in the bucket there. It's down about 1 inch, but it is leaking out pretty dang good. A lot more than you'd want your pond to leak out. So what we're gonna end up doing is going ahead and we're gonna let this seep all the way through, let that soil get nice and moist, come through, pack it really well, then come back in with water, fill it up again, and see how it drains out at that point. Now we might have to give it a couple of hours or maybe even a day, so we'll get back to this. All right, so it's been a few weeks since I started the experiment with the bucket, and I want to follow up with that. As you can tell, the pond is still dry. We've had about 1/10 of an inch of rain since then, so you know, not expecting much. But the bucket experiment soil test, I guess, if you want to do that, if you want to call it that, because we are testing the soil to see if it is able to hold water in that pond. And it worked because it taught me a lot, and it worked because guess what? It's holding water. So I did not plan on taking 2 to 3 weeks to get the finished part of this video, but I had to learn a lot along the way. As you know, I drilled a ton of holes in the bottom of this. If it was not going to hold, trust me, it was not going to hold, because normal soil definitely wouldn't in here. So anyway, I'd put water in, filled it all the way full, and without doing anything, like I had mentioned, we have about 8 inches of this red clay in that pond right now, semi-packed. And so what I did is I put 8 inches in this bucket, filled it full of water. Within probably 24 hours, all the water was drained out and the soil was soft. So I came in with a big stick, this stick here actually, part of it, and packed it down the best that I could. At that point, it was still really moist soil. So I let it sit for another 2 days. I came back in with kind of a smoother object, aka the bottom of my shoe, and came in and packed it with all the weight that I could, and really trying to compress that soil and pack it and seal it. And so came in and I packed it, and at that point I left. I let it dry and I let it finish doing its thing. I came back after it had completely dried, put water in, and it's still holding water. I even dumped out the water the other day just to test it. Let the soil crack, let it dry, and it still held moisture kind of down in the bottom of it really well, so you can feel through the holes. But put water back in it and it's holding. It's held for days. So it's holding for days. It's not losing anything except the evaporation for the most part. At the very bottom on the holes, I find very, very, very trace amount of any water or moisture coming through. So I think my pond right there, the soil in that pond can actually hold. I think what we have to do is we've got to get in here. We've got to find a way to really pack that, get some heavy equipment in here. Might even bring in a little bit more red clay, some really, really fine red clay that doesn't have much rocks or anything in it. and pack that in. It's going to take a little bit, but I think it's definitely going to hold. The bucket test worked, so I would suggest doing this if you're going to build a pond anywhere. Get a small bucket. You can get a 2.5 gallon size bucket or a 5 gallon size bucket. Drill a ton of holes, because if you want it to fail, if it's going to fail, you don't want to set yourself up thinking it's going to actually work and then it not work. So I drilled a ton of holes in the bottom of this bucket, put the same amount of dirt or the same dirt components that you're going to be basically sealing your pond with, and put that in the bucket. Experiment, do everything the same way that your pond would be doing it, and try it out. So I'm super excited about that. I hope you guys enjoyed this little update, because I actually did not think it was going to work whatsoever. Technically, by this experiment, what I have in there will work, and that just blows my mind. But we've got to pack it down. But I probably am going to bring some more red clay just to make sure I'm on the safe side. So super excited about this. It was not the outcome that I was expecting, but you know, it's kind of cool little experiment, so you guys can try too. So there you go, we got water. Journey's been enjoying coming over here, drinking out of it like it's her own little dog dish, even though she has her own really nice dog dish and not this dirty, nasty water. But anyway, hope you guys enjoyed that. Please give a big thumbs up. Comment down below if you've tried an experiment like this, or if you're going to try it, or if you have a pond that's not sealed, because I know the frustration you're going through. Guys, until next time, have a better than average day. Won't you